Welcome back, everyone, to our gameplay series of Farming Simulator 19. So where we left off last time is we are finally ready to put some horses inside of this enclosure, and I am very excited about doing that. But a few things that I did off camera in preparation for this episode is I actually went around the perimeter of our land. We've got a little bit of room up here to the top of these fields, as well as just a little bit around the bottom. And I sort of went around the edges here and tried to get as much grass cut as I possibly could. And it turned out after I cut the grass, and then of course I had to tether it and then windrow it as well, which was kind of odd in some of these places, which is a pretty tight squeeze. But I got that done and then was able to take the loading wagon and pick all that up. And we got quite a bit of hay now that is currently sitting in our loading wagon. So that worked out very nicely. And that led me to another thought, which is that, you know what, we're going to have all of this room sitting over here for at least some amount of time until we're ready to expand again. So I decided to go ahead and go through the process of spreading the lime here. And then now you see the guy is actually plowing this particular area. So this is going to be a nice size field that we're going to be planting grass on, and that's going to help us with hay in the future. And of course, once we're able to eventually purchase field number 1 over there and the surrounding area that it has, then maybe we'll be able to put additional animal enclosures, and we'll have quite a bit of grass and or hay to use for that. So I'm very excited about what the future holds, but for right now, we need to get started with some horses. Now, for right now, at least, I am not going to be purchasing the horse trailer because it's not really all that cost effective for us to do for the most part. It's going to be much more time efficient and I think cost effective to just go ahead and pay that fee and have the horses delivered. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to purchase one of each of these. They're all the same price. So we're going to purchase one of each, and hopefully that will help me out in training these guys and remembering who all I need to still train for the day and who all I've already trained. So you can see $2,400 is going to be the total fee for that. That is a non-issue for me. It's going to cost us a total of $42,400. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, just to make sure before I hit confirm. And there we go. So now we've got horses in here, but if we come under our animal screen, now they all show here with, of course, 0% riding for the day. They'll all start out with 5% fitness and then 100s on the others for now. So we need to get busy providing some of these, and then we will start the training. So let's go ahead and grab this guy and start filling the water tank, and we'll start off with the water, and then we'll put some food in there. We'll hook up the loading wagon and take care of both the hay as well as the straw. All right, so this guy is filling up. He can handle, I think it's about 7,500 liters or so in this one, and then we'll be taking it just over to the side of the horse enclosure. 7,300 instead of 7,500. Okay, so now we will head right over to this area for the water, and we will drop off the maximum that it's going to allow us to, which will leave plenty of additional water, I believe, still in the tank. Yes, we're still going to have 4,500 liters in the tank, 2,800 liters of water in the pen. Let's go ahead and unhook that, so that we could go ahead and grab our hay. All right, and we'll come around to the other side and drop off the hay. Now in this case, we won't be able to leave the loading wagon here because we're going to need to drop the rest of the hay that is not able to fit in here at the time. We're going to need to drop it off at the hay silo or the hay barn And once again, we almost had a full loading wagon worth of hay, and wow, you can see it's going to take, actually it took all of that. That's actually pretty good. So that works out well. And let's see, I'll drop this guy off. For right now, we'll just sort of drop him off on the side over here. And then I'm going to make sure and continually remind myself of crop destruction, and so we're not going to drive over any of the areas that we're actually sowing. All right, now we need to pick up our oats. Here's where we're going to start to get into some issues with the terrain deformation. Not too bad right here. It's a little worse on the other side of the hay silo. Okay, no wheat here. Actually, we want, there we go, oats. So 9,288. We'll see how much of that we can actually use. So we'll take this over and dump this, and then we'll come back with the loading wagon and we'll finish off with the straw. We'll put the bedding in there, and then we'll be all set. Okay, so we'll use the same area for the oats that we use for the hay. Now, right now you notice we're not getting the indicator, and that's simply because of the tip side is currently to the left on this trailer. Once I move it over to the right side, we have no problems. So we'll press the I key, and it will load those oats straight into, and we'll see how much of that we need. Okay, nearly all of it, if not, yes, all of it ended up fitting in there. Okay, that's good. So that gives us, what do we call that, about 2.5 days worth of food, plenty of hay for several days. It looks like probably 7 or 8 days. It's not your typical 6-day scale in Farming Sim 19 for the horses. So now we need to grab that straw, and we will be on our way. And the same as with the water, we're not going to need a whole lot of straw. So we'll go ahead and fill it up. And this is where we're going to get our first chance to see the terrain. As I really wish this was a lot smoother when it alters the terrain. You can see we've got quite a big drop off on either side here. So that is not a smooth transition. I wish it was a little bit better. All right, straw. Right now we don't have any hay in there, but we will at some point in the future once we get our field up and running. So we're going to go ahead and get the straw. We should have more than enough straw, but I'm going to go ahead and let this thing fill up because not really going to hurt anything. We'll turn around and just dump it right back in here when we're done. So 23,000 liters right there. And now we'll come around and add the final ingredient to get ourselves started taking care of the horses. All right, there we go. So you don't need a blower or anything like that. No extra equipment is needed. And in fact, if you'll watch right over here to the side, you'll see the straw as it's going to fill up in the area. There it comes. So there's their bedding. And you can see we still have a little over 17,000 liters remaining. So we don't need very much straw at all. So we're going to have, which is good because straw is not really all that profitable to sell it, but it is a byproduct of our oat harvest. So we'll take at least a little bit of it from time to time as we need it. All right, the rest of this straw we'll simply put back into the hay barn. All right, so let's drop this off, and we're going to walk over here to the horse enclosure. Going to jump our way in, and first and foremost, let's make sure they've got what they need. We've got plenty of oats, again, for probably multiple days, 3, 4, 5 days or so in all likelihood. Again, because the scale is a little different in for the horses in FS19 than what you're probably used to with that 6-day scale in previous games for some of the animals. So that'll give us several days, and of course we'll have another harvest coming up tomorrow in all likelihood for the oats, so we'll be able to fill this up even more. These guys are all set, so now it's time to start with some training. So the key is where do I start and where do we go from here? I'm just going to start with this guy and get up close to him, press the E key, and now we are riding him. So the key thing is going to be to watch the daily riding percentages there. It'll take us 5 minutes for each horse, and we're just going to go ahead and just walk up and over this thing. And it will not matter if you watched my guide to the horses, you'll notice that it does not matter whether you are in a full sprint with the horses or if you are simply at a very slow walk. The training percentage goes up the same amount regardless. All right, so let's go ahead and move over to this area. In fact, you can see we're at 10% now. All right, so over in this area, remember, we don't own this land. We own just a short piece of this. So there's our lime fertilizer spreader. There's our normal solid fertilizer spreader. There is our sower. And then here's the 2 new pieces of equipment that we have, where we have our tedder and windrower, which again I used for some of the grass along the areas. It would have been nice if we could have cut this grass, but new feature in FS19 is that you're not allowed to do any change to an area of land that you do not own. So here you can see some of the land that I actually got to cut. A lot of this, the crop destruction has flattened the grass, and I wasn't able to get anything out of it simply by the normal working of the field. So let's go ahead and keep our way over. Again, you can see some of the areas that I cut. So we're going to need to train these horses each and every day. Let's don't get too terribly close over there because I'd prefer not to fall off the edge of that cliff. But I do want to ride over here to see sort of this lighthouse and this complex as a whole over here. I kind of like this. Keep an eye on our percentage. We're at 41%, so we should take care of our 100%. There we go. Looks like we got some caretaker housing here, as well as, let's see, let's go ahead and stop right here. Okay, so we got a little bit of equipment and some waste there. Horses still waiting for us. Okay, I like this. This is a nice little area. Let's see, can we get over? Yes, we can. We can get right over to the lighthouse itself. So let's go ahead and make that trip. Kind of doubt we're going to be able to get inside the lighthouse, but we're certainly going to head this direction. Some more housing there on the left. And let's see what else we've got up here. All right, yeah, let's go ahead and head across the bridge here. Very nice views. All right, let's go ahead and hop out. I just want to see. I'm not expecting to be able to get into the building anywhere, but just to make sure. Nope, doesn't look like we're going to be able to get inside of it, but that's okay. Again, a very nice view over in this corner. So let's go ahead and make our way back across the bridge. The horse does not have a good turning radius. Okay, now we're stuck. So we've gotten stuck. There we go. Yeah, the turning radius on this horse is is not good at all. So we'll have to keep that in mind as I try to fit this guy through these narrow corridors. All right, so we'll head back over to our land and to the horse paddock. And by that time, this guy should be very close, if not at 100% for his daily training. In fact, let's go ahead and pull it up. So we're at 77% right now. One of the things I've been meaning to play around with and test out a little bit more are some of the graphics options. There are some drawing distance options that I have to this point left at default, but I'm kind of interested to see if they make a substantial difference in some of the popping in that we see with various items as we get closer to them. It'd be nice if that were a little bit smoother. All right, 91%, so we are right there at it. And of course, the whole time, our worker is working with the plow. All right, 96%. Let's go ahead and just walk our way back inside the paddock. Again, no need to really use the gates. We can just walk or jump over the side. There we go, 100%. So now we'll stop and get off, and we're not quite done yet. All right, where did he go? Is this him right here? Yes, it is. All right, so now we'll go ahead and clean him. You can hear the brush sound just barely. So that actually gets his cleanliness back up to 100, because sometimes it'll drop down into the 50s or 60s or so on there. So he's all set for the day. Looks like we got Santa as another one of our horses. This is a beautiful looking horse here. This is Unity, it looks like. Let's go ahead and ride Unity a little bit. And this time I want to jump over onto the other side of the road. Let's see what's sort of going on over here. Now the good thing is terrain deformation does not work on lands that we do not own. And I don't think it works with horses anyway. I don't think they do any actual crop destruction. At least not what I've seen so far in my gameplay. So we don't have to worry about running through other people's fields and destroying their crops. One thing that would be nice to have is that daily riding percentage. It would be nice to have that on the screen somewhere while we're riding, just to give us an idea of where we are. Of course, you can also use these horses not just for the daily training, but you could also use them for transportation around the map. I mean, what you're seeing right now is a full run for them, the gallop. So, you know, to give you an idea of the speed they can actually move. I've not put them up against any sort of additional equipment, such as a tractor, to see exactly what speed. Oh, we got a bridge right here. Let's see if we can get across the bridge. Turning radius. All right, let's take a look. So we're at 29, 30% there. Okay, so very nice area over here. And then we come to field number 7. Now, this is one that I have considered as I take a look. And of course, you've got another big field right over here next to this. This is one of the fields I have considered in the long term using for expansion, because it's right over here next to the BGA. And if we wanted to get a silage operation up and going, whether it's for cows or simply to sell the silage, this would certainly be a prime location to do it. Okay, not bad. It's fairly level. I mean, there's obviously a slope to it, but there's not a lot of hills within it, so maybe our terrain expenses wouldn't be too terribly bad. But for right now, if there's one thing I would love to see adjusted in this game, it would be those expenses for messing with the terrain and placing buildings. They can get outrageous at times and really put a damper on your budget. But other than that, I'm having a blast with this game, and even with the terrain expenses, it's just something we'll work with, and it's not really going to be a big deal overall. Not for me anyway. Of course, these two fields right here, field 4 and then field 5, you could easily combine these if you wanted to by simply plowing the area in between these fields and connecting them up. So that's certainly a viable option. Going to be harder to place buildings over here because there's a lot of flattening that would need to be done. Go ahead and jump over the tracks there. Can we get down off the side? Yeah, we can. I was beginning to wonder if that was going to be a dangerous thing to do. Alright, so we are at 70% with the training. So if we slow down one more step, just to allow a little bit more time to elapse on our trip back over. But this is an absolutely beautiful horse. I really like the models they've done for the horses. If we zoom in here a little bit, I mean, that is just beautiful. If some get too close to those railroad tracks, that would certainly not be good. All right, so I really like the way our farm is shaping up here at the beginning. Lots of plans for expansion, but for right now, things are going quite nicely. Let's see, what are we? 86. We'll go ahead and make another turn around the enclosure here before we hop back in and choose another horse and go a different direction and just explore a little bit more of the map while we've got this opportunity. Again, the horses have everything they need. All right, there we go. So we're at 95%. We'll just sort of ease our way around the paddock a little bit. Now, if you go down toward the ranch, there is a really nice area for training horses, an equestrian area that is really nice. So I highly recommend checking that out in the game. So we're at 100% on Unity. Let's go ahead and hop off, and there we go. Unity right over here. Let's go ahead and clean. And now we're at 100% on Unity. So we're good there. Let's pick out another horse. All right, wow. This is, I believe it said, yes, Quinn. There we go. So we'll hop out, and this time we'll work our way sort of down the road a little bit from where we were this last time. And we'll go around, again, trying to retrain my mind for crop destruction. I'm going to try to stay off these fields as much as I can. Alright, so to the best of my knowledge, there's really nothing to do in that building, although it seems like kind of a waste. It's a nice little area. Let's see, let's head down this way. I don't think I've been to this bridge down here before. That's where you can really start to see some of the hilly terrain that is around. Oh yeah, look at the water flowing through the aqueduct there. Very nice. Got a waterfall right over here. Let's head that direction. All right, very nice indeed. All right, I'm dying to try to jump over this water. So, there we go. Oh, yeah, that's close enough. We'll call that good. All right, back over toward field number 4 and 5. Okay, let's see where we are on our training percentage. 42%, so about halfway done. Okay, got some water storage here on the left. I'm not sure if we can actually use that. Probably not. But of course, if you're looking for water and you don't want to place a water tank down, then you can always go to any water source, any of the rivers, ponds, and so on that are on a map, and fill up the water tank for free. For convenience purposes, I prefer to have it right here on the farm. All right, let's head over and see how our worker is doing with his job. Okay, so he is, we'll call that a little over halfway done. I really like the look of that lime spread out over the terrain there. That's a good look. And yeah, it looks like he's about halfway, maybe a touch more. Plowing is a very slow and arduous task for sure. And one of those things that we could turn off. You could turn off the periodic plowing so it's not necessary. But I don't mind it. We only have to do it every, I think it's either third or fourth harvest. So in the game will let us know when it's required. So I'm not terribly worried about it. It's just an extra element to the game that I really enjoy. All right, 73%. Of course, as we go along in this series, we may turn on or off some of the different gameplay elements as we focus on different parts of and aspects of the game. And sometimes it's fun to turn things off just to save yourself a little bit of time when you have some different goals. But for right now, I am leaving everything for the most part on. Weeds are on. Spreading the lime is still on. Periodic plowing, all those things are still on for now. All right, so we're at 85% training on this guy. And I think that's about as far as we can really venture out for the most part and still make it back within a reasonable amount of time. Of course, as I mentioned, these are great for transportation around the map. Certainly less expensive to deal with than one of the trucks or something like that. All right, 95%. So we'll go ahead and head back over to the paddock. All right, we are at 99 and 100% on Quinn. So where did Quinn disappear to? Everything resets whenever you hop off. So we'll go ahead and clean Quinn off. Some of these horses have the texture on them that you can see a little bit of dirt that accumulates on them, but for the most part, I rarely see it. So it's really hard to tell if they have any dirt on them. So that's 3 horses down. And of course, that leaves us 5 more that need to be taken care of. Another beautiful horse right over here. Let's hop on. All right, this will be our last horse to ride for today. I'll tell you what, I'm going to head up this way. Something I wanted to take a look at up here. So if we look at the map, we've got this railroad silo, which is not a selling point. You notice it is not a selling point. It is actually a storage area for if you want to use the trains to move different grains and products around the map. So be careful about putting anything in this area up here if you are trying to sell it. It's because it certainly won't work that way. The good news is you can always get it back out if you make that mistake, but best to know up front that that is not a good idea. All right, we'll see the work on field 2. So yeah, he's past halfway at this point on the workable portion of field 2 for now. All right, so there's field 5 ending. Now we've got a nice little area here on the side There's some flat area right here that could be good for building, maybe some storage, maybe even some other facilities over here as well. But then once you get over into here, it's way too hilly to be of any real use. All right, beautiful area here. These are the parts of the map that if I spend all of my time just focused on the farming aspect, then I miss all these, because there's certainly no farming that we're going to be doing over in here. Not even, for the most part, forestry could be done over there. Then we got a little bit of junk there that is, it looks like an old tire. Yeah, not necessarily nice to see that hanging around such a beautiful area. Actually, it would be really nice to see some other life around here. Maybe some ducks, things like that around. That would be really nice to see. But yeah, nice little flat area. I'm not sure it would be worth it to purchase this area. We'll have to take a look. In fact, let's go ahead and just do that real quick. Let's hop into the map itself and then go under lands, and let's see, what is this included in? Okay, so it's this entire area, 359,000. Yeah, that's the only area you're going to be able to use is something along about this, so I don't think that would be worth it unless you're farther into the game and money is no longer really an issue for you. Then it's certainly something to think about. Same thing over here in this area by the railroad silo. There's just not a whole lot of ground. And again, that's something I've mentioned before in other videos, is the one thing I am sort of disappointed in about this map is that we don't have more flatter area for building, because we have this great new mechanic where we can build our own farm and place our own buildings and do all of that. But then we're kind of limited on where we can put these things. Because you can see none of that land, if we purchase this area, is going to be usable to us. But then we have this area, which should be quite usable. There is a lot of room over here, whether you wanted to expand a field, make a new field over here, or simply place buildings, or even another animal paddock. That is plenty of room over here for that. And while I'm thinking about it, let's actually take a look and see what this land would cost. There you can see we get all of this land, but of course most of that is going to be unusable. And it's going to cost us $448. So again, a very expensive option for the amount of land we would actually get to as usable space. Let's see where our training percentage is right now. We are at 79%. Okay. So I've really enjoyed today's video. This has given us an opportunity to go ahead and purchase the horses, and also we've allowed our worker to continue working on the portion of field 2 that we're going to continue to work, and we've gotten to see a little bit of the map up close and personal by riding our horses around. So what I'm going to do is finish off. Oh, actually, we're on Santa. I did not realize that we were on the horse that was named Santa. So we'll finish this guy up, and then I will train the remainder of these guys off camera, and then we'll come back next time and see what we've got in store. It should be about time for another harvest when we come back next time on the oats, and who knows, pretty soon after that, probably the grain. Or excuse me, not the grain, the grass, and turning that into hay. So there we are. We've reached 100%. Now let's see where Santa has run off to. There he is. Go ahead and clean him twice. And there we go. Now we have 1/2 of our horses are fully trained for the day. We've got plenty of food and water for them, plenty of bedding, and we're all set. So that'll do it for now. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we will continue our gameplay series in Farming Simulator 19.